Yes, welcome to Bikes of Rye. This is going to be a walk around review of my 2022 BMW S1000R. Now I just need to highlight before we get going, this is in fact the Sport model, okay? And with the Sport model, standard specification includes things like semi-active suspension, cruise control, heated grips, automatic headlight, including the daytime running light, and also the dynamic pro mode, which we'll show you more in detail very shortly. Just stick my leg over the bike and we can see that I'm easily flat footing. We have a seat height of 830 mil. I'm 6 foot tall and I weigh 85 kilos. Just put my foot on the peg so you can get a rough idea of how you might appear, or sort of give you an idea of how you might feel riding this bike. And you can see the reach isn't too, it's not too great. You don't have to bend your back so much. And also just to highlight that we do have flat bars on this particular naked. The bike previously had Hayes calipers. There was an issue with those, and so BMW have opted to return to having Brembo calipers. We can see what the daytime runners look like, and if you look very closely, there is a R that illuminates too. This comes as standard on the Sport, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So the daytime runner, and we also have cornering lights, and the lights are automatic, so they come on obviously at night or through tunnels automatically, and then switch off automatically when you come back into daylight. I should also mention that the headlight has paint protection film on it as well, and I went for a light smoke, so that is obviously not standard. Moving on to the engine, we have a 999cc, so a litre, inline 4, producing 165 brake horsepower and 84 foot-pounds of torque. Obviously that is claimed. And I should just point out this cool little design feature. This actually is the R, so if you look at this R here, they've actually mimicked that with the fairing, which I think is a cool little touch. Also to mention that we have a fuel capacity of 16.5 litres. As standard, we have a quick shifter up and obviously an auto blipper down. Okay, and I just want to highlight that this mechanism here controls how this peg feels when you change gear. So depending on what rider mode you have, so let's say for example you're in road mode, okay, this change is that little bit softer and there's a longer pause between changes. When you go into dynamic or dynamic pro mode, this peg stiffens up both up and down, and your shifts are that bit more urgent. Moving on to the rear end, I just wanted to show you how the brake light is incorporated into the indicator. So they're super bright when you obviously pull your brake lever or you press your rear brake pedal, and we can see the indicator is visible too. And also what I do like is the BMW badge. Let's talk about the buttons that we have here to play with. This is your cruise control, and you can toggle it on and off by flicking the switch left to right. Okay, so when the cruise control has been toggled to on and you're sat, for example, doing 40 miles an hour, if you're happy with that speed and you want to set the cruise to that speed, you just simply press up and that will set the speed to 40. Okay, and you can let go of the throttle. To disarm the cruise control, you just simply either tap your brake or you can pull the clutch in and that will disarm it. When you're sat doing, say for example 40 miles an hour and you just wanted to do an overtake, you could either apply the accelerator and pull the throttle back. So when you let go of the throttle and you drop back down to 40, it will carry on sitting at 40 miles an hour, but you can actually adjust your speed as well by flicking this button. So obviously press it to go faster and pull it to slow down, and each press is 1 mile per hour. So this button here is to adjust your semi-active suspension, and so when you're on the fly you simply can press this. So it's obviously on road mode at the moment, and if you press you go to dynamic, and if you just let it go it will just flick over to the dynamic, and then you can simply press twice again to bring it back to road, leave it alone. When you hold the button down you can flick to see you have 2 helmets now, and that's obviously suitable for when you have a pillion on. Using this menu button we can work our way through the TFT display. So if we press down on this, starting with my vehicle, we can see details such as the temperature, the voltage in your battery, how many miles you have in the range, and then we can flick through and we can see the onboard computer, trip computer, and then your service information. And it's telling me my service is due because I'm still running the bike in. Now look into this sport option, and what that does is it gives you a different readout. So you have cool little features like your lean angle and how hard you're tugging on the brakes. And if you flick to the right, we have a slightly different display, only this one gives you a lap timer. And if we scroll through, we can have features like navigation, media and telephone, which you can hook up to your phone, your mobile phone, using a BMW app. A little walk through the settings menu. We can see that we can toggle racetrack on and off. We have configuration settings, vehicle settings, system settings, connections, display. But what I want to do is, I'm not going to go through all of that in this video, but what I want to show you is the vehicle settings and highlight that because this has dynamic pro riding mode, being a sport, this comes as standard. You can change things like engine braking, engine, so basically throttle maps, traction control, wheelie control. On the right hand side switch gear, we have a setting for heated grips, so you have 3 levels to that. That comes standard on the sport, and this button here changes your rider modes. So we can see on the screen we're on road, and we can flick to dynamic, dynamic pro and rain. We have keyless start, so obviously you don't have to put your key into the bike, you just press that button. However, whilst it's keyless ignition, you do have to use a key to get into the fuel filler cap. Now, I just want to say that I do have modification plans for this bike. I am going to fit exhaust headers, so I'm going to remove the catalytic converter. The bike is going to get tuned as well, so we're going to see before and after figures too. So if you like the sound of that, go ahead and subscribe. With that said, I hope that gave you a brief look into the S1000R Sport. If you enjoyed the video, let me know with a thumbs up, and I hope to see you on another one very soon. Thanks for watching. See you later.